Tuesday, December 17th, 322 on this fine afternoon. Talk really quick about the markets, some names I'm looking at. Go from there. Take a look at the S&P, down 0.6%, hitting lows right now. SPY's at pretty much right at 603 here. So it's holding on by a thread. All it takes is a couple sessions for the headlines to start hitting around the market, right? So the Dow is on track for its ninth consecutive session to the downside. I guess its biggest losing streak since 1978, somewhere in there. A lot of that has to do with the unfortunate situation with the United Healthcare executive, and so that's taken a big hit. And then you have Nvidia, which was in correction territory. Oh, God, start ringing the bell, right? So the big bear headlines around that, and was it Microsoft? I guess I forget how to pronounce his name, but he talked a little bit about how the pent up the demand for chips is it's almost like the supply is there now. It's not there's not as many backlogs. I guess that's what he was hinting at. So and then you can also read through, and if you go to Nvidia's filings, typically they have to show large customers, right? So uh, some of these, especially smaller cap names, it becomes more important to know, okay, this company gets 20% of its revenues from customer A, and supposedly Microsoft might be a customer that derives 13% of Nvidia's revenues. Who knows? But needless to say, all it takes is a couple little things going on, and then just all the headlines start coming out. So the SPY's down here at 603. I still think that 600 spot, that'll be a spot where I'll look to get hedge puts. For now, it's all we wait for is the Fed tomorrow. So the Fed's going to cut rates 0.25%, and that's just a matter of how Powell spins 2025, right? What does that look like? And there's still, I think it's 65% probability of 2 rate cuts in 2025, which I think opens the door for flexibility, right? Not so if things really start to get bad in regards to employment, or if the economy looks like it's turning the other way, they can be a little more aggressive on the rate cuts. And then on the flip side, if inflation's still being stubborn, they can either just keep rates the same, or I don't think they'll get to the point where they have to raise rates, but you never know. So just watching that 600 on a SPY. I still think 610 comes before the week is out, but a lot's going to depend on tomorrow. And then the small caps taking on the chin with the Dow down 1.5%. I just hopefully the Santa Claus comes out here when we start getting the Santa Claus rally into the end of the year. And then some other just quick, I like looking at historicals and things like that, but I posted a chart yesterday, and some I was looking at back in August as well. Amount of stocks trading over their 50-day moving average. I think it was 45% of them were trading over their 50-day moving average yesterday, and now it's 38%. I'm sure if I pull up right now with the SPY at lows, it might be less than that right now. So, I mean, you take it a glass half full, glass half empty situation, right? So if you're bullish, you say, wow, they've lost their trend, so there's an opportunity for them to start to bounce and regain their uptrend. And then if you're bearish, you say, wow, this is a signal that we're in a downtrend, and we're going to continue to be in the downtrend. I think a lot of that, at least for the 50-day moving average, is a function of the bigger names pretty much holding the market up, right? So, and they've talked about the bad breath for a while, right? The top seven, and I guess now they're saying add Broadcom to it, right? $1 trillion company. You could the bad breath's not good for the markets, but I mean it still stone throws away from all-time highs. And then the last, I think Charlie B posted, or someone posted this around lowest cash. I'm trying to cash allocation, so it's like negative, right? So I guess as markets fall, you see all these charts, and then they, supposed to confirm the bias, right? But to me, I take everything with a grain of salt here. Try to find some silver linings, some consolidation, still a tight trading range. So if you look at a SPY, the high today, 605.17, and the low is right now 602.90. So a minuscule trading range again. So yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's that. So now individual names. I added more Solar Edge calls this morning. Goldman Spectacular did the patented double upgrade, so they took it from sell to buy, and then they were talking about that solar, and in particular Solar Edge is oversold based on possible pickup at least in demand. So a lot of the issues with the solar sector recently, or not recently, but over the last 6 to 12 months, or even longer than that, has been the rising rate environment, right? So that over a while, folks who are looking to get solar installed on their homes and things like that. Uh, a lot of times it's not like they're going in and say, "Oh, I'm going to pay cash to get solar on my house." No, it's financed, right? So if the rates are 3% or 4%, whatever, uh, it's a lot more attractive to do the solar. And then as the rates start to go up, maybe some people are waiting, who knows? But needless to say, that took a hit on Solar Edge, and it's been destroyed. I think it was a $400 stock at one point. I have to go back and look. I mean, I could check right now. Uh, doesn't mean it's going back up there, but it does have a tremendous short interest. So when you have a 35% short interest, stock's trading right near lows, and then you have a double upgrade from Goldman Spectacular, I think there's an opportunity. 300. Let's see where it was. 325. I mean, it was 300 for 360 back in 2021. I think it might have been higher than that. So again, not to say it gets back there, but I think there's an opportunity for it to move back over $20. Got some January strikes because I think if some of the premise behind tax law selling has oversold some of these stocks, then I think they'll be reversed and people look for some opportunities on some oversold names. So uh, not saying I like, Solar Edge is my favorite top 5 stocks for 2025, but I think there's an opportunity to play for upside. All right, that's Solar Edge, excuse me. Lemonade couldn't do any continuation on yesterday's squeeze. It showed signs about 1 o'clock. Looked like it was going to break. Nice little volume spike, and then now it's turning around here down. It's pretty much flat. It's going to be a tough one because I think by the time it starts squeezing, it'll be very hard to catch a decent strike. So I'll just hold what I have for now. And I think it's going to, once it breaks over 50, I'll look for more strikes. But I think it's a great story that's going to trade north of 60 in the coming weeks and months. So that's Lemonade. Some other names here. I posted in the chat room too. This Peloton wall at 1040 or so. It's been hitting that and failing to break through. It did that about 5 or 6 times, and then finally we're 3 sessions in a row to the upside here on Peloton, and it finally broke that 1050 and boom, all the way up to 1090 before pulling back here. At some point, it's going to start up. It's like it's been churning at this level for a while. Everybody's kind of used to trading between 9 and 10 as opposed to trading at 2 and 3 and $4. Well, 3 and 4. So I think it's set for the next leg. It's going to happen pretty soon. Still holding my January strikes, and once it breaks $12, I'll be looking for more strikes to play for upside. New Year's resolution time is right around the corner. You always have some of these names. Planet Fitness got upgraded this morning? What they call it, the Amazon of fitness. Uh, anyway, rants for other days on that one. But I like Peloton for upside. Teladoc on the flip side, I was optimistic coming into today. Closed back over its 200-day moving average. Had a great session yesterday, and then gave it all back today down at $10. Hopefully, it can find some footing. I mean, it looks like it's kind of tied a little bit to the small caps. So the fact that the WM's off over 1.5%, well, was it 1.5% now? 1.2% is probably weighing as well. So hopefully that thing can find some support in reverse. Still bullish on that name heading into 2025. Joby, it's up here at $8, been churning as well. Archer got, I think there was some positive news there. They're kind of different companies, but same sector. But still watching Joby here. 962 is my next level. And on the flip side, if it does break support, 775 would be an area watching. I was looking at the April 13th, 14th, but I think I'm just going to be patient for now. And then, if it shows signs of getting up to that 962 handle, maybe I'll add some strikes then. That's Joby, clear, secure. Recouping some of the losses over the last 3 sessions. Well, actually, it was down 4 sessions in a row. Another spike similar to what happened on Lemonade. A nice little spike to 27.22 in the mid-afternoon, right around the same time frame, and then it's pulled back, but still up 3%. Really like that one for upside. I'm not going to go rant on that one. TZOO multi-year highs here at $21. The calls are still very illiquid, and 2 days ago it was down under $19, right? And then 2 days later it's back over 21 at 52-week highs. So I would have had to have timed it last week, and then the premiums might have came out a little bit, but still looking for some strikes into 2025. The January 25s look interesting on a risk reward basis. If not, then I might the March 30s, but I probably will, if I do anything, I'll look for January 25s. I might wait till tomorrow after the Fed meeting. TZOO is not the most watched stock, so it's not going to trade totally in sympathy with the markets in regards to the Fed. So it gives an opportunity to get some calls even if the market starts to rally. And then if there's weakness, maybe I'll find an opportunity. Square and Roku, similar. It's almost like back-to-back slow sessions. At least for Square, it's only up 1%. It's a tough one to watch because it's like we'll just watch the premiums come out of it. It's not fun, but still like that one for over $100. Roku was flat when I posted a chart. Let's see, it was up 0.1%. Let's see, uh, back in red slightly. That one's probably going to need a kick. I'm trying to look because I keep talking about the quantum names. Obviously, are stealing the headlines. I mean, you do this long enough, you've seen these runs. And I think coming into last year, there was the AI names. The year before was like metaverse, uh, and it's mining names, crypto names back in the day. There's always like sectors are going fire, and some of these might overshoot, right? And then you look at FinTwit, and some people are trying to like correlate the price, judge the fundamentals, and companies that are worth billions of dollars but only do $9 million in revenues or 90 million, whatever it is. So it's tough. You got to kind of like throw that out. I mean, can these probably keep going? I'm looking at the Q butt, right? So uh there is a 1720, it's up 50%. You start looking at the calls, and I was saying this yesterday. When a stock's up 50%, typically your calls are up tremendous, and they're not because there's so much premium. And I mean, the December strikes on Cuba, the 13 calls are up 300%. The stock's at $17. So you had to pay a pretty high premium and then get that news, right? So it's tough. I don't want to get some FOMO and try and trade these. And usually once I get into that, then that'll be the top for them. So I'll probably just stay away from them. But anyone else in those names, hopefully they keep going for you. Uh, but it is funny, like a lot of folks try and like rationalize the moves and the valuations, and it's like this is like early discovery pricing for these stocks, right? They're getting hype, and it's the market's trying to figure it out, and they'll probably rally, and then they'll probably come back down, and then at some point they'll become playable again. But for me, I'll just keep on the sidelines. Some of the issue with those too is there's not a lot of supply, right? There's not many names out there that you can trade in that space, so it creates a scarcity factor, and because of that, these names are going crazy. All right, so that's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other names here. I mean, GameStop, congrats, longs if you're back over $30. Gold bouncing a little bit. I mean, I don't know if some of it has to do with the market, but it's been pretty much melting up since the open. We're still down 0.25%. At some point, I'll look for some more dust calls, but it doesn't make sense to get too crazy unless I see something that I have high conviction in into the Fed tomorrow. And I think that's it, folks. We got 26 minutes to the close. Let's have a great end of the day. I'll be back rock and roll.